My name is Adam Gaudry. I'm an assistant professor in the Department of Native Studies at the University of Saskatchewan. We're living in a rapidly transforming world, a world in which Indigenous peoples' voices are being heard on a level never before seen, at least not since colonialism began. Indigenous peoples are asserting themselves by resisting resource extraction on their land, colonial authority in their communities, and by creating new, dynamic, Indigenous art scenes. In Saskatchewan and Canada more generally, there's a growing Indigenous population, and with it, a rapidly expanding base of social activism and political resistance. In some respects, the days of the most oppressive forms of imperialism have subsided, but it's been replaced with a more subtle and complex form of colonialism, which still negatively impacts Indigenous communities. What are the political causes of this big shift, and why is it so important? Why is the dysfunction of Canadian Indigenous relations so deeply seated? How do we make sense of this changing political context? Join us as we explore the ins and outs of the Canada Indigenous relations for the past 3 centuries. Beginning in the pre-contact era, we'll explore the basics of Indigenous cosmology and the relationship between Indigenous political thought and relationships with Europeans and other Indigenous peoples. We'll be examining the ins and outs of the fur trade and exploring the complex relationships that emerged from it. We'll be looking at treaties in the historic era as well as the modern day treaty process as it exists in British Columbia. We'll be exploring the pitfalls of these treaty relationships as well as the original intent behind them. By creating a dynamic learning community, we'll be able to explore these issues together, in depth, and in a way that makes them accessible and even fun. Welcome to Native Studies 264, a course that will introduce you to the foundational concepts and issues in Indigenous politics and governance.